Hello. So for this assignment, you'll need the Desmos, Virginia Testing Standards of Learning, Desmos, and then you'll see the assignment just like this on your class kit. So today we're going to talk about connections between equations, rules, tables, mappings, and graphs. So you should have learned about these from the last couple of slides. So we're just going to kind of apply what we know. So now we look at this. We know that they gave me f of x equals 1/2 x plus 4. Well, that's the same thing as rules. That's called a rule. And we've actually been using these f of x's for a while, g of x. We've been doing this in class. We know that anytime we see that x, we're going to replace it with something that we know, right? So in this case, we're going to start off with the very first one. Well, we know we can rewrite this. This is the same thing as saying, this is the same thing as saying y is equal to 1/2 x plus 4, right? So we're trying to figure out what our ordered pairs are. We're trying to figure out what my f of x or y is, because we know it's a y. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my Desmos calculator. First, we're going to use -2. We're going to plug in -2. So we're not going to plug in y equals. Instead, we're just going to plug in 1/2 capital X. Remember, we said we want that capital X plus 4. Well, the very first one that they gave me for my X is going to be a -2. But when I plug in -2, I get a +3. Right here, you see that? I got equals to +3. Well, now I want to plug in a 0. Well, when I plugged in 0, I got a +4. So I'm going to go ahead and put 4. I want to plug in 2 now. So when I plugged in 2, I'm going to get a +5. And the next one I got is a -4. So when I have -4, I got a +2. Okay. So with these points, they give me ordered pairs, -2, 3. So I'm going to go to my graph. That was my table. Oops. Now I'm going to go over here to my graph. I'm going to graph it. So they gave me -2. So I'm going to go to my x-axis. Left 2, up 3. 1, 2, 3. Luckily, these already kind of have the numbers on them, so you don't have to count it, but I'm going to count them. And then I go to my x at 0, and then up 4. Then I go to my x, which is a +2, so I'm going to go to the right 2, up 5. And then it says my x is going to be -4, so I'm going to go to the left to -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go up 2. 1, 2. Okay. So now I have all these points. I'm going to go ahead and make my line, my straight line going through all of these. You always want to add your arrows because it lets it know that it is continuous. Okay. So I'm going to do one more with you. We know this is my rule. The same thing as saying y. Oops, let me erase that. Same thing as saying y equals -1/3 x plus 1. And I'm going to plug it in here to get my graph. I'm sorry, which is my table. This table will give me my ordered pairs so that I can plug it in to my graph. Okay. So we see that it is the same thing as saying y. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to plug in is a positive 3. So we're going to come over here. We're going to clear all. We want to make sure that we said that it is a capital X. So negative 1/3. A capital X so that we can get this slider. You want that slider, okay? +1. Once you do that, then you click on Add Slider. Well, the first one they gave me is a positive 3. I got that positive 3. I got a 0. Then they told me that they want a positive 0. Well, this is such thing as positive, but they want a 0, which will give me 1. Then they told me they want a 6. 6 gave me -1. So now we're going to come over to my graph with these ordered pairs that I have now, because now I have ordered pairs. And my first ordered pair tells me that I am going to go to my x. I'm going to go to, it's a positive x, so I'm going to go to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm just going to stay there because my y is 0. So I'm going to put a little dot right here. Okay. And then it told me go back to 0. Well, I stay there and go up 1. I go back to my origin. Then I'm going to go to the right 6 because it's a positive 6. And I'm going to go down 1. Well, now I connect my line. Oops, that was not a good connection. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my line. Then I put my arrows to let me know that it's continuous. I let them know it's continuous because we don't know where it stops at, so we know this graph is continuous. So anybody know it is continuous? Okay. Continue. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Let me rewrite that. Oh, that was right. Looks wrong though, but right. Okay. So we move on to the next page. I'm going to do number 3. All right, so this time they did not give me my rule. In this case, they gave me my ordered pairs. We know right here that they gave me my ordered pair, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let me go ahead and read the question first. It says express the relation. So we know that because we always know everything is a relation. It's always a relationship, but they're not always functional. But we know this is a relationship. They gave me these sets of ordered pairs. They want me to make a table, a graph, and this time they want me to do the mapping diagram. This time they want me to do a mapping diagram. So with this information they gave me, I know that 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that we want to make, when I'm doing my first one, it's my table. My table, which will also give me my ordered pairs after I plug it in. But in my table, I know I need to X and a Y. X and Y, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and start plugging them in. -2 and +5. -1 and +4. +1, +3, and 2 and 4. So now I can take this table that gives me ordered pairs. We know that it gives you ordered pairs now, or they already have the ordered pairs up there as well. Gives me my ordered pair. And I can go ahead and graph it on my graph. So I'm going to go ahead and start graphing. The first one first one they gave me was -2 and then +5. So I'm going to start at my origin, go to my left 2, 1, 2, and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gonna make a little dot right there. Okay. My next one is -1 and a +4. So start at my origin. I'm going to go to the left 1 and I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 3. Over 1. I'm going to go to the right 1 and up 3. 1, 2, 3. And then positive 2 and 4. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So then we're going to take it, and it kind of looks like it was doing a U shape. So I'm going to, there it goes. Oops. Okay. Connect all my dots. Looks like it was giving me that. And put a little arrows at the top. So then I move on to the next one. Also, I want to know, is this a function? Is this a function? Well, we're looking at my x's and since none of my x's repeat, we know it is a function. It is function. Yes. It's a function, okay? If any of these x repeated, then we know it wasn't a function. But since none of my x's repeated, we know it's a function. So then I move over here. You have -2, -1, +1, and 2. Then they gave me 3, 4, and 5. I don't have to rewrite my 5. You only need to write it once. I'm sorry, your 4. You only need to write it once. And I put these in order because you're supposed to put your numbers in order. Okay? So we know from -2, it's going to go, I'm going to use some different colors. I'm going to use red this time. So -2 is going to go to 5. -1, it's going to go to 4. 1 is going to go to 3. And 2 is going to go to 4 as well. Draw an arrow there. Like I said, none of these arrows, none of these X's are repeating. So we may share the same Y's, but we don't share the same X's. So there's nothing going to this X more than once. So since there's nothing going to the X's more than once, that's okay. So if they're going to the Y's, we don't care. We don't care that it's going to the Y's. But if it was going to the X more than once, then that's when it wasn't a function. All right, so I want you to go ahead and complete the rest by yourself.